Brought to you by Lister Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we are round 2 with Pam Ruggeroli. I say that right?
Very good.
Because you're on the show last year when you were president of TAR, right? Tucson?
TAR?
TAR, yeah.
Yeah.
So Pam Ruggeroli with Long Realty. For those watching that don't know who you are, I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Pam Ruggeroli with Long Realty. Been in the business for almost 17 years. Specialize in residential real estate sales and in the business because I love helping people.
Awesome. So last year, so we can just get into some of the things and impact that you're making. And because we were talking about this before we started the story, kind of the show, the impact within real estate and then also outside of real estate. So you're still heavily active in Tucson Association of Realtors and other organizations?
I am. So I'm currently the immediate past president for the Tucson Association of Realtors, and I am vice chair of the RPAC Participation Council, which a lot of people are like, what's RPAC?
Yeah, what is RPAC?
So RPAC is the Realtor Party Action Committee. Realtor Political Action Committee. We also refer to ourselves as the Realtor Party, and we advocate for homeownership and protecting people's property rights.
Awesome. So what are some of the recent things that have been going on that people should know about or concerning, or some of the things that you guys have been working out, maybe to change or to enhance or further protect homeowners and realtors and stuff like that?
Yeah, so the Realtor Party not only helps protect our industry, but it also helps protect anybody that owns property, not only in the state of Arizona, but also around the country. So we look at issues that are local, state, and national. And one of our big wins was last year when the tax reform bill first came out in August of last year. There was a lot of things that were changed in the tax bill that would have negatively affected homeowners and kind of lowered the incentives for being a homeowner versus a renter. So on a national level, we were able to lobby against the original tax reform bill and get some significant changes made that were very positive for us.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit about some of the changes. What was on the ballot, or not ballot, but what were the plans for the changes and what?
The original tax bill. So for example, the mortgage interest deduction originally was up to $1 million. The bill that came out in August lowered that to $500,000.
Wow.
And we were able to get it up at $750,000, which is where it stands now, and that was passed in December of last year. So that's an example. One of the biggest ones that I was telling you about is, we are a military community, and capital gains tax right now, and in the former bill, was if you live in your primary residence 2 out of 5 years, you avoid capital gains tax up to certain dollar amounts. Well, they were trying to change that to 5 out of 9 years, which would have been very detrimental to our military, more so than anybody else, because they're usually only stationed in areas 2 to 3 years, sometimes longer, obviously, but that would have been a huge negative effect on them because they would not have been able to avoid capital gains taxes, nor would anybody else. So that was a big win. We were able to keep that in. 1031 exchange, they tried to make major changes on the 1031 exchange, and we were able to keep that the same way it was prior to the tax reform bill. So that's kind of some of the biggest wins that we had, but there were a lot of wins in that tax reform.
So how often do they try to change or reform the tax policies? Is it once a year thing that you're trying to, or not too often?
Gosh, I don't remember the year, but tax reform hasn't happened in a very long time. So this was
So
something.
this is a big deal then.
Yeah, a very big deal. And I'm sure we're going to see, like anything new, you're going to work the bugs out and the kinks out, and eventually they'll get it fine-tuned, because there are some questionable areas. And again, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a tax consultant, but we were able to get some major wins for homeowners.
That's awesome. So what are some change, or how is, so let's just talk about the real estate industry as a whole in 2018. In regards to Tucson, what are you seeing out there as a real estate agent here in Tucson?
Well, we're off to a great start. 2017 was probably one of our best years ever. Since we were almost up, medium price range, we're almost up to the 2008 mark.
Awesome.
So the first quarter was real strong, and we're seeing that going into April and May. So I'm really excited about that. Our only concern is getting the inventory up, because we have a shortage of inventory. Seems to be the common story across the country. And so when you have low inventory, it's the whole supply demand. The supply is low, the demand's high, it's going to drive prices up. We don't want prices to be driven up too fast.
Sure.
Or too much, because we don't want to end up in another bubble situation. We also are seeing interest rates go up slightly, and so that affects affordability. But right now, I think we're doing really well.
So is there a lot of building? So with a low inventory amount of homes in the Tucson area, is there a lot of building going on, or are there other?
Yeah, I think the new construction builders are building as fast as they can, because that's one way to get the inventory up. The other way is, baby boomers retiring.
Sure.
And moving out of their homes. But if they are, selling to downsize and then to buy something else, it's a wash. So that doesn't increase our inventory. People moving out of state, or into retirement communities or assisted living communities, that'll help get our inventory up. But right now, builders are building as fast as they can. I think the thing they're struggling with is enough manpower and materials to build fast enough.
So what are some of the hot areas in Tucson where you're seeing a lot of new builds, or like little communities that are sprouting up because there's not a whole lot of homes in maybe the downtown Tucson area, but
downtown Tucson, unfortunately, we don't have any new construction for home ownership. We're seeing condo properties going up, rental apartments, things like that. Nothing yet. I'm hoping that someday we'll get something for home ownership down there that's affordable. But otherwise, usually you see the majority of the building out in the areas where there's land that's available, and that's mostly northwest and southeast.
Gotcha. So north, that is
Like
it Oro
Marana.
Marana.
Well, Oro
Gotcha.
Valley has slowed down a little bit because they don't have as much land as like Marana has a lot of land. Vale area, Corona de Tucson area, new construction, and then you'll see little pocket new construction areas across the city, but they're just smaller subdivisions. Like there's one going on right now, like Speedway in Pantano, but it's a small piece of land, and only so many homes will fit in there. So the majority of the construction we are seeing is on the outskirts of Tucson.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit about your real estate business. So we talked a lot about the market and some of the changes that were proposed by tax reform and whatnot. How has your real estate business? Have you seen a lot of new real estate agents coming on board in Tucson? Is that number continuing to grow? Is there a lot of competition? And kind of what activities are driving your business success this year?
So we every month we're adding new members to our association, and just to kind of give you a perspective, I did a talk last week, like an economic update on residential real estate, and there was about at that specific day there was about 3,900 active homes for sale, whether it be single family, townhome, condo, etc. And we have about 5,400 members in the Tucson Association Realtors.
Wow.
So it kind of puts it in perspective.
Sure, yeah.
You got 3,900 homes to sell and 5,400 members. There's not even one house for each member to sell. But statistically, we see that less than 50% of our membership sells 0 to 1 homes per year. So the top 100, 200 agents are doing the majority of the business.
And what do you see that those top 100 agents, those top producing, what are they doing besides, the lower 50% that are doing 0 to 1,
Yeah.
have you, talked to these agents and seen what their business, what are the common threads that push people into the top? Is it that they've been in the
Yeah,
market for so long, they're just well established?
I can't speak for other agents.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, my business is majority referral based because I stay in touch with my clients. Like the
Right.
very first person I ever sold a house to is still one of my really good friends to this day. We get together all the time and have dinner and drinks and go do fun stuff. So, I sold her a house 16, 17 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we're still friends. So I stay in contact with all my clients. They hear from me on a regular basis. They're not just I sell them a house and never talk to them again.
Sure.
So that's how I run my business. I know a lot of agents are doing open houses and lead generation programs where they're paying for leads, or like Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads, things like that. Me personally, I like that warm lead because it's either somebody I know personally or somebody that I know that knows somebody else, and they call
Right.
me up and say, hey, Rhonda referred you to me, said you did a great job for her. Can you help me? And so that's the majority of everything I see.
All right. So, obviously, there's tons of different strategies. It just depends on your strength. You've been in the business and you're pretty established, and you've done a great job staying in contact with your past clients and your sphere of influence. So that kind of helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Generate.
It's a slower way probably to build business because it took me a few years to really, get a strong momentum going. But it's the way I enjoy doing business. I'm not into cold calling, and if somebody calls me, I'll try to turn them into a client of mine, but I'm not going to chase them.
Right,
I'm here
right.
to help people that want me to help them.
Absolutely. All right. So awesome. So, what changes do you see on the horizon within, for real estate agents in the Tucson area? We see a lot of these different models that are popping up. I'm sure you're familiar with, these flat fee, or there's all kinds of
Yeah.
different real estate models. It seems like real estate is kind of not necessarily completely being disrupted, but there's some new players coming in that are doing some, the non-traditional forms of. So, I just wanted to get your perspective on where what you see,
Yeah.
future
I
in
know
the Tucson area.
I know some realtors view other models as threats, and I don't. To me, it's all about relationships and providing good customer service. And I truly believe you get what you pay for.
Sure.
So I really don't, and maybe I have my head stuck in the sand. I hope I don't. But I think as long as you continue to build strong relationships and have strong communication with your clients, that there isn't a model that'll take that over. People want help, and navigating the real estate process is not easy. And all you have to do is do it once to understand that this is not something you want to take on your own. And if you go with one of these models that gives you limited service, you get what you pay for.
Sure. So, if somebody watching this, a real estate agent or something, maybe they're interested in becoming a real estate agent in the Tucson area, or maybe a buyer or seller that may be interested in using your services, how do people get a hold of you, Pam?
The best way to get a hold of me is by phone. Either call me or text me. My number is 520-954-7138. Or you can email me, and it's a real tough one, but it's pam@pamruggeroli.com. And Ruggeroli is RUGGEROLI.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy day to join me on Real Estate Pros and sharing your perspective of the market and Tucson area for this year. So thank you so much, Pam, and we
You
will
bet.
see you guys on the next episode.
Perfect.
All right. Nice job. Thank you.